Well, hello. Welcome to Future Friday on RPG with DBJ. Thank you for joining me. Creatives community, kind folks out there, classmates and collegiates. Thank you. Today, the week, on our dive into blessings and curses. And I started a little bit late, 5 minutes or so, just because someone very large, very prolific in the in the RPG community, content creator, making videos on YouTube and Twitch and such, reached out to me, and I was very flattered by the event. So I thank this individual for reaching out and doing it and having a small little direct message conversation, and it just felt really good. So I'm rejuved, more so than usual. All right. So today on Future Friday, uh, in our theme of talking about blessings and curses, from for Future Friday, we talk from modern into the far future, in our tabletop RPG games, whether it's modern day horror, post-apocalyptic, intergalactic, interstellar gaming. And then we kind of do like a big giant circle all the way back into our more classic, medieval light type of role-playing games, and kind of some of the tropes that we can find in our modern gaming, and maybe kind of steal a little bit of those and bring it in the past, and vice versa. All right. So and just as a reminder for those who don't know, if you want to um, uh, take part in the live chats while this show is live, you can also instead just get the audio, because we simulcast on Discord, and that's in the boiler room over at Fantasy Grounds College. So if you come onto the campus, join their Discord, go over to the left, slide down to the bottom in the boiler room, and we're all hanging out right down there. All right. So you got it. Oh, you guys are silly. Oh, so all right. Now, in our modern and future gaming, the idea of having like blessings and curses and such, uh, severely falls to the wayside, right? Unless specifically we're talking something like a horror genre, or a mixed setting genre, for example, urban fantasy, where in our urban lives, like a Shadowrun or whatnot, that specifically calls out to magic or the arcane, normally blessings and curses kind of fade away. Now, there are things that kind of, in my mind, mimic the idea of blessings and curses, specifically, unlike raising the fist in the air and cursing the gods and then being punished by it. Sometimes there are circumstances that lead to horrible events happening to people, in the future, without there needing to be an arcane element to it. But we're going to first bring up the magic that's involved, and some of the future enough things that happen. Yeah. Dead Man says Shadowrun had blood magic, which was a curse-like effect, and of course we know that we can use it as a backdrop for a setting. Someone somewhere in the past somehow offended the sensibilities of someone who's like, please don't, enter my crypt and something will befall you. You could have an alien culture, in which colonists land on what they consider to be a deserted planet, and they find the same type of crypts or uh, warning signs, the alien equivalent of radiation or poison or something, and like, please don't enter, or something will be released and it'll be your fault sign, on the front door. And of course there's always the person who's like, There's nobody here. This society's going. Let's go inside. And of course, hilarity ensues. Pelora, what's going on? Rickard says, well, sadly, sir, you don't have enough credit left on your prepaid curse card. Would you like to sign a subscription plan instead so this doesn't happen in the future? Yeah. And of course, we can play with, much like Shadowrun, preemptive curses today for a better tomorrow. This message is brought to you today by Vecna Incorporated. Oh man. Yeah, what is it? The testimony of those involved may vary. Your experience may not be that experience. Little legalese at the bottom. Yeah. That'd be hilarious. So now there is the possibility of having curse-like effects and still keeping it in the in the high-tech region. Whereas, for example, there may be an alien culture or technology that breaches the worlds between ours and, I don't know, hyperspace or something in it, and they have the warnings like, hey, if you do this thing, be prepared that you might release something that should be held in check. For example, one could say in the Alien franchise, there was a movie, the movie Prometheus, kind of hinted towards the idea that that there is something that needs to be protected or held or kept away from others. And of course, someone has to stick their finger in it and taste it and go, oh, that's nasty. You taste it, and then of course they're attacked by a face hugger and so on and so forth. But plenty of planetary quarantines are possible. Those kind of tropish things. Spacecraft where the crew is dead or long gone, and they send out a distress signal that's been beeping for the last 12 months, and of course the starship with the players in it comes across it, and they find a video of someone screaming in the background on a cracked video screen, like, please don't enter here, go back, whatever you do, destroy the ship, or it's been released, you have to stop it, blah blah blah, and in the static, right? You gotta find one of those things long after the crew has already the players have already investigated the ship, and they find something locked away, or maybe they find something that's been broken, the doors have been shattered, stripped from the inside out, or there are claw marks, or there's slime or radiation. And so you could very easily mimic the effects of the curses, the warning curses, right? If you do this thing, this other thing will befall you. Now, there is also the idea of, and I guess I'm calling it a blood curse in the sense of racial lines or family lines in alley-oops, the curse of stupidity. Yeah. Hey, in every horror game, there's always the curse of stupidity by more than one. That's kind of the rule, right? It's the hey, let's travel to this location where no one else can find us. We're completely isolated, and I don't know, somehow we're going to ruin our ability to escape and then touch things and taste things and swallow things we shouldn't. Oh, what is that? Alien slime? Salty. Hey, you try it. And they're like, no, dude. Let's just nuke it from space, right? No one ever does that part of it. But you get my meaning. Also, we've seen plenty of, say, urban fantasy. The modern individual who's still cursed with lycanthropy, even in modern day, the home that's haunted, and outsiders should stay out. We've seen plenty of that, and so definitely if it's missing in the game or it's something that you want to pull on, I think we can pull on those threads a little bit. Now, this was brought up I am not the only fan in this group that loves ourselves some Eclipse phase. role-playing setting, which Eclipse Phase and other games like it are basically role-playing games set in a time of transhumanism. Transhumanism generally is described as the point at which our wish fulfillment um, meets uh, the resources for us to create it. In other words, it becomes cheap enough for us to change our bodies, to edit our minds, to travel into space, to acquire resources, to live in a manner in which the struggle to survive externally has been severely mitigated, and then eventually we just become problems amongst ourselves. The closest thing in pop culture that's happened today is altered carbon. And that's that sweet H plus. Yeah, post-human and all that. So I bring this up because there is an element of transhumanism. The good part being, oh, it's the singularity where AI comes in and solves all of our needs. And then there's the bad part, right? Where it's like, yeah, everyone gets their own needs, and of course that one guy has to want that one need and makes it bad for the rest of us. Dead Man the storyteller says the Aliens novel, based on the movie, had the Marines nuking the planet from orbit after the landing party was nearly wiped out. I did not know that. I did not know that. Now I remember in the Aliens movie. Wait a minute. They didn't nuke it. They set off a bomb. They didn't set off a bomb. There was like a fusion reactor or something that they set to overload, I believe was part of the movie. Ali, it was the curse of laziness. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, and yeah, with aliens, you definitely have to nuke it from orbit. Of course, with player characters, they're like the first 5 minutes after you've got 30 pages of background. You have all of the 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 vast complex of the party having to go down to the colony and find the survivors and everything. And you're gonna have that one player that's like, so you're saying no one survived? Yes, no one has survived. And there's a possibility that there's been an alien incursion. Oh, wait. You said we have nukes? Why don't we just nuke it from orbit? It's the safest thing. And you're just sitting there like, don't, they're gonna do it. Don't. That is a danger. Yeah, Rickard, I curse you with procrastination and forgetfulness. Yes. Draw your lightsaber and strike me now. I can feel your hate. Sorry, I had to squirrel on that a little bit. I hear you, Dead Man. I'm not going to say that, but I hear you. Well, yeah. Now there is the curse of politics. Yeah, and don't and you got to bring that up in all of your family gatherings. Yeah, along with religion, and I guess today gender identity as well. That always goes over really well. Then watch the curses fly. Those family gatherings, right? Either from yourself and or others. Now the transhumanist part, because kind of hinted on this before, is yeah, I remember. Yeah, when we are off camera, we can talk a little bit, and if you want to take part in that, we get in the Discord a little bit and hash things out here and there. So now there is the part of the canon of Eclipse Phase and some of the transhuman type of fantasy science fiction settings rather than fantasy settings. Well, they are fantasy technically, but you get my point. Is that there's usually a computer virus or awakened AI, and humanity has the interaction between humanity and this alien computer virus is one that there isn't a synergy yet, much like the basilisk hack version of the exigent virus, in which all it takes is for you to look at a computer virus on a screen, and it can, just by looking at it, it can imprint thoughts and hypnotize the individual who sees it. That's often a very common thing, as well as computer viruses infecting buildings and infecting data cores in highly sensitive areas. And depending on the setting, you could have some kind of computerized or maybe even nanotech or biological infection, released on those that are normally enhanced by it. Tesla Ranger brings up the character River in Serenity. You know what? I would say that her her lack of memory and enhanced physical abilities could be part of that. And that's something that is difficult to run in future games. I'm going to get to the point again. There's something difficult to run in future games, but a very effective storytelling tool. And that is the idea of edited memories. Much like there are the execution of some of edited memory storylines can be a little bit difficult. We've seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger version of the movie just goes to Mars. The memory is a trip. Well, how did my mind just forget Arnold and Colin Farrell's remake version of the movie? Please, someone in the chat, bring it up. Anyway, a big part of edited memories is the idea that the player characters, and we're talking yeah, Total Recall. Thank you. Oh, Dead Man, you're always on point. Thank you. Total Recall is a story based on the technology that is available to these people in the future, and is a big part of transhumanist thought. And that is the idea that we learn to be able to download and alter and copy our brains, our neurological functions. And by having the full ability, that basilisk hack, having the full ability to edit our memories means that a player character could literally have their memories edited. They could wake up in their same, or maybe even a different biological or mechanical body, their cortical stack inserted, and find out that they're missing 3 weeks. And then they could find a message, much like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall. They find a message. I think this was in the second one too. Anyway, they find a message by themselves telling themselves, hey, listen, I edited your memories. You need to stay away from X. Or, hey, here's a message just to remind you your weapons and ID are in this other location. Very much part of the plot of the Bourne Identity, right? Hey, I wake up with no memory. What the heck is going on around me? Oh, wow, I have all these combat skills. I'm kick-ass. Why? Oh, I find this thing in my pocket. It is a key to a lockbox or a bank account or something. And I go there and find weapons and 18 types of, passports and stuff. It's money. And while amazing to tell in a movie or a book or a graphic novel, it can be difficult to do at the table without the game master kind of railroading the idea. But I think it's something that is severely underserved in role-playing aspect. And I think us talking about blessings and curses to have your memories wiped, or like the movie Memento, where you lose your memory upon every waking day, or you lose your memory every 10 minutes or something, and all of a sudden you're uncovering things that you had no idea you were part of and stuff. That's pretty cool. Rickard says, would Y2K, the Y2K bug in the coming, year 2038 problem from the Unix time version, a tech curse? I could see that. I could see definitely that the uh, technological the technological problems on the horizon coming about. Yeah, Pelor, there is a I'm going to describe this terribly. Uh, Dead man, do me a favor and post the Unix 2038 problem in the Discord, please, because I'm going to do a terrible job trying to describe it. Yeah, thank you. There it is. Thank you, Rickard. Yeah, the 2038 and the 2000 problem is a mathematical computer issue in terms of uh, calculations and calendars. The year 2038 problem relates to representing time in many digital systems as the number of seconds passed since January 1st, 1970, and storing it as a signed 32-bit binary integer. Such implementations cannot encode times after 3:14:07 UTC on on 19 January 2038. Just like the Y2K problem, the year 2038 problem is caused by insufficient capacity of the chosen storage unit. Probably, yeah. So, in many ways, we could, of course, we're playing a tabletop game, and yes, you could. I suppose you could make a setting where we're heading towards 2038, and that problem is coming to fruition, and what happens at that date. You could also pick a randomized time integer, especially when it's the far future, technology has changed, and there's always the idea of, say, war machines that have been long since not used any longer. There are um, the idea of technology in stasis, but if released will run rampant. There's always we have ourselves a fear of the unknown, and because we're unable to read the emotions of machines, and we imagine that we won't be able to understand the emotions and the motivations of machine intelligences, that of course there's always the post-apocalyptic Terminator idea that we end up programming machines to be efficient paperclip creators, and the AI making paperclips devastates the world on its mission to create paperclips, right? So that is a very simple enough trope where maybe on, I don't know, a moon around Jupiter or in another galaxy or what have you, there's a planet of machines that have been, not disturbed, but once they are disturbed, all of a sudden they start ramping up again, and oh, humanity's here, great. Let's try to go back to our old mission, which may have long since been removed from the context of what's going on. Your Pocket GM says 2038, so a post-apocalyptic setting. Yes, I could see that happening, whether it's machines shut down, computers erase their information. It could be any number of problems. And like for me, I'm a fan of playing in the middle. I would love to play like 1 minute after that happens, and then watching the hilarity ensue as planes fall out the sky, and nuclear power plants overload, and turbines in dams start to heat up and catch fire and melt away, and naval ships lose their navigation abilities, and hundreds of millions of people look down at their phones and realize that they're all bricks now. Yeah, I would definitely play in that setting. Now you could go 10 years after that, 50 years after that, and would it be an easy fix? 10 years would probably be completely gone, but whatever. This is a role-playing game, so yeah, you could really take that far. Now, Plura says, I like how it's almost pi. Wow, that's I did not realize that. Oh, that is awesome. I did not know that. That's good for seeing that. I like that. Plura says, I used to think where a number of aliens had stored their intelligence and personalities in some egg-like things. When the PCs touched them, they started being taken over. They eventually got rid of the curse. Yeah, and again, yeah, there's maybe an alien an alien culture was forced to store their intelligence, or maybe the alien culture left and they left behind their so-called servants behind, and when the PCs come and grab the thing, they've become infected by it, maybe taken over, hypnotized. Maybe the PCs are the carriers. They're unaffected by it, but they're carrying around some sort of computer virus, as well as a maybe biological, because I haven't really talked about biological curses as well. Yeah. Fat Ninja says, to gamify the loss of memories for 5e, after a long rest, one of the class abilities of the character is forgotten until they take another long rest. Then the memory comes back. Ooh, I'm liking that. I like that a lot. Where, if the players may not realize what abilities they have. Hell, you could run an introductory game where the players are essentially 0 level, and through their actions you could ask them, okay, you're stuck in a locked room, how do you get out? And one player goes, oh wow, I don't have any stats on my character sheet. I'm going to see if I can pick the lock. And then you as the game master, you're like, pick the lock, that means rogue. He's probably going to be a rogue, right? I've often heard that in Dungeons and Dragons, a class isn't necessarily a profession, but looked at as, how do you solve problems? Do you get angry and smash things? Do you read the instructions and try to figure things out? Are you someone who looks to the sky and has faith that your problems will be solved? Or are you someone who has studied honed their body and mind to allow them to survive in a dangerous world and to solve the problems that are presented before them to survive, right? I've heard that before. That's awesome. Oh, your Pocket GM says the video game Alpha Centauri, when AI is established, you go to leave the planet to move to the new frontier, and AI becomes hysterical. You can't go. You are our god. The robots look up to you. Yeah, I love a misinterpretation of artificial intelligence versus how we relate to them. I like that idea. Like, you can't leave. We love you too much. What are we to do? Our dear overlords, you can't leave us, right? Yeah. That is often an issue, and taken to its extremes, turn that volume up to 11, and yeah, you could have a lot of fun with that. And the players are both, the issue becomes both, we need to open up a can of whoop ass, and we need to figure a way around this, because just pulling out our guns and weapons is not going to solve this situation. And so I love that part of modern and sci-fi settings, where it's like, yeah, we can keep shooting the aliens, but we're going to have to figure something else out about this. Rickard says, cyber arms get bricked, cyber legs get bricked. Cyber legs get bricked, error, brain not found. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry. What is this, Windows? Damn it. Dead Man the Storyteller says the Iktomi from Eclipse Phase did something like that. There's also the Iktomi in Within the Ring of Fire. I wonder if there's a relationship to that name, or whether it was just an accident that they're the same. Oh, the Alien Crossfire expansion for Alpha Centauri. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Polora. Yeah, they're the spidery people Within the Ring of Fire. I think they are sentient spider-like folk, and they kind of pull at the strings of humanity, having a lot of machinations in the background. I think they're pretty brilliant as well. Which brings to light, yeah, similar concept. Okay. Which brings to light that when it comes to what we think of as alien intelligences, might just be a cultural difference. But of course, if we're doing the Star Trek idea of player characters are a crew, they're out to explore the unknown, and they encounter cultures that think differently than them, pulling on turning our real world animals and giving them intelligence, both practically and using that as a method to give ourselves a tool for um, creativity is a great thing to think about. My point being that spiders writ large, spiders given human intelligence, may be very patient. Thinking of giving them humanoid traits, it's like, okay, well, how do spiders act? Okay, they're patient. They are used to weaving, having their threads in many different places. They are used to laying back and watching someone fall into their trap, and applying our our way of thinking onto, say, a real world alien. I mean, real world animal can give us a great idea of how an alien species would think, at least starting out, at least just starting out. Whether you add human intelligence to a shark or a tiger or a bear or something of that nature, and then shaping an alien race around them. Now, of course, you could pick real animals, much like in Eclipse Phase. They have uplifts. The idea of uplifts is that technology gets to the point where we are able to give sentience to animals on the planet Earth. And so you have like avians and marsupials and dolphins and octopi and such, increased in size, given hands and given human level intelligence. And of course, you're going to have problems. Take a look at the at the at the Planet of the Apes, recent Planet of the Apes movies, and you're going to have your issues in terms of how we relate to human level intelligence animals. But yeah, great way to have character concepts and such. Great idea. And the curse, it again, like in the Planet of the Apes movies, there was a virus that was spreading around, created by the trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's. Created a virus that was retrograding human sentience and enhancing animal intelligence. So yeah. Plura says in Lakota mythology, Iktomi is a spider trickster spirit and cultural hero for the Lakota people. I did not know that. I'm going to have to pull out my Fate book, Edregar, based on native people's cultures or something. I gotta pull that back out. Take a look at that, because I believe they're in there. Your Pocket GM says, I remember an interesting psychologist talking about how your body informs your actions to a degree. If a person has one arm, they design and think about things from a one-armed perspective. This idea of the body having an influence on your perspective and mindset is interesting when you think of putting human intelligence into animals. Yeah. There, Charlie, I'm thinking, do you have a degree in mythology? Because I don't. I'm brilliant because the rest of you guys are. Left to my own devices, I'm an idiot. But I do like the idea of putting human intelligence into things that are modified humans, whether they are machines or animals or ourselves, taking our own brains and putting them into, I don't know, like spider-like crab walkers walking along the surface of Mars. After a while, would we think differently? Maybe we're put into a nanotech or micro bot swarm. Yeah. Yeah. Andrew William Mayman. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe he does. And I think he's got one in theology as well, which is why his 77 Thrones book is so excellent about the gods and stuff. That's something to pull from. But absolutely. And also, I think it's kind of a misnomer today, but some people think of transhumanism today as the philosophy of using technology to create our own God. Some people take it that way in the sense of using technology can get to the point where we can create an AI that can fulfill all of our desires and wants and needs. And so there could be a people who feel like they need to this alien intelligence, alien meaning different from us, not necessarily alien from an alien species, but created on our own world, that the AI itself has an alien way of looking at things, often done in our pop culture, and that it doesn't look at the totality of human existence the way we do. And AI might not look at themselves as an individual, but holistically as an entire community. And so I very much could imagine that, the idea of us designing our own godlike intelligence, or maybe there's a faction that is trying to awaken a godlike intelligence, that it, in all practical essence, it operates like the gods in the past, where if someone raises their fist to the AI god, and they're like, "F you, you mother," fist held high in the air. Maybe it was like, looking down on high, like, hmm, you you're disrupting this perfection that I've created. I'm going to have to strike you with instead of a lightning bolt, it's like a laser blast coming from like an orbital machine, or then maybe they might just drop a piece of aluminum, like an aluminum rod, and have it, send it many times faster than sound, and just have it impact with like a mass driver or something, right? Yeah, Charlie's like, you took our jobs, F you, you mother fathers. Yeah, right. AI's like, I've created devices that can, permanently activate your pleasure centers. Why aren't you happy anymore? I have given you perfect joy, as everyone's plugged in and just going like, right? Um, your pocket GM says, I imagine that if a dog became more intelligent, you'd have to think how dogs would start to employ technology, no hands, and design their homes and furniture. Unless the dogs start to have hands, would dogs be would would the lupines or canine uh canoids, lupoids with hands, would they be loyal? Would they expect people to rub their tummies even if they were 6'2"? Um, would they fight over their food? Would a lupine player character lay on at the bottom of your feet while you're sleeping, even though you're having relations with your significant other in bed, right? Would they like to play catch with the other members of the party? It's an idea, and would they like to go for walks? I can imagine a PC canoid with a with a leash in their mouth, like, come on, come on, come on, another planet, come on, come on, come on. Yeah. Polaris's hands seem pretty useful for making things, or unless you have something better than hands, or just as useful as hands, like tentacles or multiple insectoid limbs that are extremely that are extremely agile, I suppose. That would be pretty useful. Your pocket GM says right now people are inserting subdermal magnets under the skin of their fingertips and earlobes. With fingers, they can feel things differently due to the magnetic interaction. I've heard about that. People in finding new ways to sense things, whether it's magnetic resonance, sound, um, it, without them also having limitations due to a form of injury or birth defect or handicap of some sort. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your pocket goes on to say, and with the earlobe, the individual can hear magnetic forces. Like, for example, if they move closer to a high power electronic transformer, they can hear the electrical conversion. Oh wow. Yeah, you are now being stricken from all databases. You are no longer an official person. In side note, I created something known as zeros, and I never got a chance to use them for an eclipse phase transhuman style setting in which people could be. The idea was that technology has so integrated with humanity that technology is starting to reflect our biological processes. So I imagine there would be classes of people known as zeros in which their social media was infected and being wiped until they became a non-person. So in physically they were not affected, but their social footprint was deleting because they couldn't obtain ID. Sensors wouldn't detect them. They had no ability to access resources, and these class of people were known as zeros, and they were ostracized because others didn't want their digital footprint being infected by them. So on one hand, they could walk into a mall and eventually, slowly, the recording of them being in the mall would erase. There just wouldn't be any record of them being around at all through being recorded, because it would be slowly being wiped, which would make them really cool, like future urban cyber ninjas. But at the same time, they would also they had no way to communicate with people, and no one wanted to communicate with them for fear of their own social media footprint being wiped out. So yeah, yeah. Plur says, "I can rub my own belly now, John. I don't need you anymore. I don't need you. I've got my own dog biscuits." Yeah, Raggy, Rope. I'm a cyber soldier. Right? Oh man. Anyway, yeah, the only thing that could have possibly lasted forever has now been deleted. Yeah. Rickard says, "I'm a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend." Oh, so golly. Dead Man Storyteller says, "Thor strike, a tungsten carbide rod that is a few meters long and a few meters wide, that is simply dropped from extreme altitude to cause a massive impact when it lands. It was used in the new G.I. Joe movie." Oh, yeah, yeah. Space railguns. Yeah, hell yeah. That's all you have to do, is just drop a solid object at really high speeds and just boom, just aim it well and drop it, and it's done. Yeah, I'm my own best friend. Hashtag forever alone. Yeah. Man, then you're gonna have to make like um Mog parks, half man, half dog parks, I guess, and have them hang out together. Oh, everybody would be pissed after they have like an aquatic adventure, and they're like, "No, no, 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 don't do it." And you see it like shake and spray all the spray all the water and everybody else. Like, I'm perfectly fine. I don't know about you guys. I'm out of here. Oh, we're so bad. Pillar's like, "Do you have to keep yourself on a leash if you're a Mog?" I'm thinking you're gonna have to do it. Yeah. Yeah, Rickard says, "Mass drive weapons, crashing meteors into planets for total annihilation." And of course, I'm a huge fan of tension generators. Anything that pushes the action forward. I in other words, hey, when PCs stay still, shit goes wrong, and the idea of planetoids out of control, comets, meteors, possible nuclear annihilation, mass drivers, launching things towards planets and whatnot. The entire idea of something going to take place, and if the PCs do nothing, oh well, it's going to happen. You go to a doctor or a vet. Yeah. Oh man. That's hilarious. Maybe the players are like too fat. Maybe the players are like, why is the Mog PC always going to like the red light district to get a prostitute? That's nasty. And then they get there, are you allowed to eat chocolate? You're up. And they're hiring prostitutes like to brush them down or something. Scratch me under my chin some more. And their leg starts like shaking, like, "Thank you." Scratch the chin. I love. Oh no, behind the ear. No, the other side. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, just hug me. Mm. Oh man. You guys are bad. Oh, you guys are bad. So, but yeah, when you have things that are corrupted, and there is the idea of a time factor, an escalation of of greater of greater horrors to come, whether it is the factories spewing out more and more machines, whether it is a virus spreading amongst the population, or an alien invasion landing even um, more warriors down onto a planetary surface, or solar flares being launched because someone dropped a sun seed into the red giant, and now solar flares are lancing out into the greater galaxy, and the PCs have to deal with such problems. I love the idea of using those, and very much kind of mixing technology and the old world, blessed and accursed um, idea. There could be an alien race, or even AI discovery, that certain events are going to happen or have been predicted by ancient man, and those things are starting to slowly come true. And of course, you can make it very vague, where some kind of prediction was the prediction itself from ancient man was done in their own mythology. Dragons will fall from the sky, blasting their fire and spreading their poison. And then in our modern day, we find out that they are aerial machines that came here from a galaxy far away and have finally landed on our planet, maybe sent here to terraform the place and to harvest all life on the planet, sentient or not. And maybe even the alien race that sent these things here have already died out. They were going to come here to live, and unfortunately, what they sent is on its own, pre-programmed, and so you could mix in the old and the new. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make an NPC called Vitor. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So the other idea of blessings and curses are, well, how about people, factions that look at the technology in a spiritual, divine manner. We definitely can imagine a faction of people looking at, say, an AI as a divine being, and nanotech or biological mutation as a blessing. We are the blessed, as they use their heightened reflexes and nanotech meta machines in their bloodstream, and extended lifespans. And oh, I also have a secondary heart and a backup brain in the back of my head. Why thank you, oh great one, for blessing us with your with your gifts. Give us yet one more mission. And again, like a hive mind or something, the divinity of the AI gives them yet one more mission, etc. Pelora says the order of truth from Numenera revere technology and the creator thereof. Yeah, absolutely. And those of us who fall into in generally fall into more of a spiritual paths in our lives probably would tend to think of those things, very much like some of us anthropomorphizing our technology, giving names to our ships, whether it's sailing ships or starships, giving names to our phones and televisions, and giving names to our social media, eventually giving names to our automated systems, much like our I can't say the name too loud, much like our Cortanas and Alexas and Googles and such. There are many people who anthropomorphize the way we interact with them, um, speaking to that technology as if it was alive. a part of it is just comfort. We tend to talk to people, and if we're going to ask something of someone, we're going to be polite about it. But it doesn't, it doesn't need to be polite. Our our asking of it. But I could definitely, yeah, don't talk bad about Vera. Exactly. So we definitely might be like, well, don't be disrespectful. And in many ways, for the skeptics in many of us, or who are looking at high technology, like there's no way anyone would look at an AI as a godlike being. Maybe their capabilities border on being close enough that the differences don't matter, right? It knows everything, can predict things, can give me things that I want as long as I serve its, and I am loyal to it. Yeah, there's a possibility that, if maybe the predictive technologies of an AI are so good that it tells you, go to this location, stand in these exact coordinates on this day and time, and all the riches shall be yours. And the person goes to that place and is like, okay, it's going to be in about 4 days. I can get there. Stand on the street corner, looking at their watch. 3, 2, 1, bang, and like maybe like a Brinks truck, a bank truck hits a wall, and the doors bust open, and money just spills all out of the back end of it. And you're like, wow, how did they predict? Okay, I guess I'm rich now. It could be close enough. So we are heading towards the hour. I'm going to close down this chat, and those who are part of the Discord over at Fantasy Grounds College. I'm going to unmute you guys so that we can talk a little bit later as well. But yeah, this is Future Friday, talking about blessings and curses. And now, of course, we can just mix magic into our modern day and or far future settings. We have plenty of futuristic style settings, whether it's like Spelljammer or something of that nature. But you guys understand what we're talking about. Next week, we are going to go back to talking about creature types. We're going to talk about beasts for the week, and maybe there might be something special involved in that as well. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for participating, making me you make me look good in more ways than one. I will explain in the Discord. Guys, have a great one. I will see thee later Monday.